again. So if you've watched the first video, you know a little bit about how the dashboard works, how to add a participant, what the shift calendar looks like, and what happens with your support workers if you've brought them along and loaded them in, all their details are there. So the next thing we're going to look at is people who need assistance with finding support workers. So what we can do once we've put all of our participant details in, so some of the questions that we sort of ask here might seem like a bit of an overshare, but what actually happens is when we get to job ads, you can create a job ad based off what you've put in. So you don't have to keep telling the same story over and over again. So all the details preload. You can discuss what rate you're willing to do. And then this will write the ad for you. Now, you can copy and paste this over to somewhere like Seek or onto social media, and you can change all of this if you want to. It's all editable, and it'll give you the basics to save you from going through that every single time. So what happens is when you paste your job ad over onto social media, for example, you're going to use an email address that you set up at the very beginning. So for this person, it's Gillian@sparksflow.app. So when you first create your account, it'll ask you for the first part of this email. This is set at sparksflow.app, but it'll ask you what you want to use and it'll tell you if it's available or not. So Gillian. So this is what we're going to use inside of the job application so that it's confidential and it's not giving out your personal email. So you can use anything here. It doesn't have to be your name. So in job ads, that's what's going to come up in that job ad, and you paste it into Facebook, for example, into one of the groups. So the platform is going to handle all of the job applications. So Priya, Tom, Chloe, Ben, Marcus, Janet, they all emailed to that email address their application. And what the app does, let's start at the bottom, the worst. So it'll give you a brief and it'll say, yeah, look, this is not a fit. We're not going to proceed with this person. They're new to disability support. They've done some volunteering. They're only available evenings. They don't have any of this stuff. So we're just going to give them a miss. Let's have a look at them. So it'll give you the documents that they sent. Now this has just been pre-filled so that I can have some data in there for the videos. But if they sent through their CV or a cover letter or anything else, it will appear here so you can look at it. We can see she doesn't have any of these things. She's got reliable transport. That's a start, and we're not going to proceed with it. But if you wanted to, you can override that. So the overview is, you know, she's willing to learn, but doesn't have any of this stuff. She's only available weekends. Cover letter said she's keen to start a new career path. So in reality, the cover letter would be living over here with the CV. Excuse me. So let's look at Priya. She's a strong match, shortlisted, 6 years. So all the things are there. She's a tick in every box. So you don't have to physically read through and check if everything is as it should be. So she has qualifications. She's got all of that. Oh, she doesn't have evenings. I think we should schedule an interview with her because we've got all of this stuff already. So let's schedule an interview with Priya. Now, this is going to help you through the interview process. Here's the summary about Priya. And in case you're burnt out and hate being on the phone, here is a phone script. So you can have a chat with Priya, or you can just copy that into an email. That's a possibility as well. So you schedule your interview, and you can say whether it's going to be a phone call, anything else, and you send a confirmation email to Priya. So she'll get that and it'll say, yep, phone call this time, be there. Let's jump into the interview. Now, this is when we designed this, we had in mind that you might have your iPad in front of you if you were doing a face-to-face interview, for example. Now, we've included 8 questions, and you can add more questions if you want to. So these are the getting to know you questions, and you can add more if you'd like to. So we'll just start the interview. Tell me about yourself. And then while they're talking, you can use your finger to slide this along to wherever you feel is genuine, and you can tap along. Yep, she seems really good. Everything's great. And then you can also tap some notes in there if you want to. I'm just going to give her some great feedback here so we can see the end. And you can delete any of those questions too. If our preloaded questions aren't what you need, you can remove them and add your own. So then you're always asking your participants, sorry, your applicants the same questions. Okay, can she commit? Yep, she gets it. And then a final assessment. So this is for later. How well she cultural fit? Yeah. Would the participant like them? Family trust them? Professional boundaries? Yep, she seems great. So this is a way to create a summary. You can come back and look at any of this at any time, but we'll create a summary. And so this is perhaps if you wanted to show somebody else, like a partner or someone else, perhaps a support coordinator. So it gives you the overall information about like what you got out of the interview and a recommendation, which is just that, it's a recommendation. So let's hire her. Let's say, yep, we're going to hire her. So now she's going to appear over here. Jump over here and we can have a look at Priya, and we can edit to say, actually she's casual and she started, whenever she started. So that's done. She's now part of your team. So the idea is that the applications, all of the sorting through, sifting through is done by the app. And if somebody is clearly not taking the time to put their details in, or if they're clearly missing really important stuff, they're not going to waste your time. You can see Janet's not a fit, so we're just going to file her away. You can see that maybe Marcus could be good, might be worth a phone call or an email. Great. He can easily get a working with children check, hopefully. First aid certificate, easy to get. But it just saves you from going through 20 different applications, and it also preserves your privacy on social media, and it stops you getting direct messages that you don't have time to keep track of. This is all in one place, so you can always see who's applied before and whether they're shortlisted or not. So yeah, that's a little bit about that. And then of course, the interview process, people find it really useful because often maybe you haven't done an interview before, and so this really helps you to keep that in a structured approach that you can replicate over and over again. So yeah, that's the whole app so far. If you have any questions, please let me know. If you have any suggestions, please let me know. All right, thanks for watching.